read a little bit. I posted a video with that lady talking about star seeds, our angelic human heritage. I showed the video. It's in my video somewhere. So, ascension in the divine matrix. The divine matrix is an organic web of energy that connects everything and contains a universe we exist within. This is the bridge between all things in the mirror which shows us what we have created. Everything in the world connects to everything else. To tap into the force of the universe itself, we must see ourselves as part of the world and everything in it instead of separate from. It's funny because I always say that you're not separated from, right? Science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because, in the last analysis, we ourselves are part of the mystery we are trying to solve. Physicist Mark Planck, 1858 to 1947. There are two versions of us, one that is still plugged into the false matrix, and the other that is already aligning into the divine matrix. These two versions or aspects coexist at the same time, which can be a bit crazy, experiencing two realities merging and overlaying. There are times when you're in a space of wisdom and connected into a higher state of consciousness, while other times you're in a state of frustration caught up in many purposeful distractions. This is the false matrix pulling you back. The conditioning of the false matrix keeps you in the state of confusion and even in denial as you are bombarded with false information and corrupt experts and continual programming they've used on the masses for centuries. You may find yourself overthinking and confusing yourself further instead of connecting with your inner self and inner wisdom, which has always been there, waiting to be tapped into. You're kept hooked into the false matrix by the ego, right? The drive to be right, the denial, the ego-driven mindset. Most wanted to avoid discomfort and challenging thoughts that takes them out of their comfort zones. That's funny, that came up. Remaining trapped within the false matrix by defending illusions we need to finally break away from. And when we dissolve the false matrix from within and we break free from the prison of the mind, we unplug the matrix in conscious slavery. And when you connect with your monad of oversoul, you experience the most potent essence of yourself, offering experiencing timelessness as life becomes surreal. And you begin to realize the new reality is so much more real than life has ever been, and the old programs which kept you on autopilot have less and less control and the effect on you. We are the electromagnetic beings. Ding, 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 ding. We are the crystalline grid here, star seeds. In our planet's magnetic field shifts. Our field shift do as well as we move into divine alignment. That's why the Schumann is changing, because we're changing consciousness. Everything everyone's reading on the charts is because of us and what we're doing, not the other way around. We're energetic beings moving rapidly into time when the world as we know it is going to change and be rebirthed with the pole shift of the great micronova, which has the explosive equivalent of, oh God, of a nuclear bomb. And I've been picking up on that. Huge. All that which does not align with the divine matrix will be eradicated, while those in divine alignment will ascend. It's been said that the precise moment of the micronova is emitted from the sun. Those in alignment will automatically emit a protective bubble from the heart center that will encapsulate each person in a field of protection, as we are surrounded by our divine guides and galactic families. From this, we will step out as higher consciousness versions of ourselves. This is our ascension, which is the great pole shift and solar flash. The false matrix continues to distractions and false illusions of a savior coming to rescue us in a desperate attempt to stop the realization of what is coming and keep us out of alignment. We must let go of the false savior program and realize that we are here to remember who we are and save ourselves. The fairy tale version of ascension needs to end. This is the time of two worlds splitting, and not everyone is going to make it. It's all projected that about 2/3 will make it, and the rest will be mind wiped, a blank slated, and must do this all over again. Illusion of the ego and the spiritual community's new age, love, light, misinformation holds the false matrix in place, while authenticity and the truest self aligns with the divine matrix. The false matrix overlord's goal is to keep us disconnected from our divine God self. They want to keep humanity in fear of pole shift by blaming climate change and spinning horrific tales of the end of the world unless we conform to the globe controlled deception. That's why the whole one world whatever is taking place. Okay, using and changing climate pandemic fears to take away our freedom. In truth, the ascension and coming of the micronova will eradicate the dark overlords as we move into the true divine sovereignty. They cannot move into the higher frequencies of 5D to 7D Earth because they choose to disconnect from the divine source. There's a lot of information in this. As consciousness with the physical body, we operate from our own energy field, which keeps expanding and evolving throughout our lifetime. In our conscious state of being, we are light and vibration with a physical vessel. As our frequency fluctuates, we experience different states of being. As many of you know this, as many stars, it's well put together to help shift your own perception for you. You know, this is all about you. Not what I'm saying, not what anyone else is saying, it's you. You know what I mean? This whole place, you're in a false template that puts a lot of fear in society. I mean, everything's run amok right now, okay? So throughout lifetime and conscious state of being, we are light and vibration, yep. We create our physical experience depends on our intentions, our soul design for this lifetime. The heart is the gateway of every conscious being, and within each of us is a God source, which is an energy and frequency within all beings, all life, and all creation, the life force. In our reality, thoughts are the initial seeds of personality, and then the personality thinks and creates primarily by the mind in what seems to be a separation of the divine source within. But as we have, that's why they have everything they programmed you to look outside yourself, right? For you to do prayer outside of yourself, right? To go outside of yourself to find the divine creator. Like for those, you know, who align with what I'm saying. And everything's inside of us. Like the heaven lies within, the light is inside of us. Everything's inside of us, right? And the personality thinks and creates primarily by the mind is what only seems to be separation. But as we evolve and rise higher in our own energetic frequency, your Merkaba, we become more soul embodied, which leads to become consciousness itself. This is when we begin to become aware that all before us is an illusion of variable design and patterns made up of light and vibration, which are basically holographic projections. Basically everything we've been saying all along. So this is from that lady that did that video. Our angelic human heritage, unveiling hidden truths, knowledge within the true origins of humanity. And a lot of starseeds will align with this. It gets into a lot. Our own saviors, ascension, the divine matrix, conscious awareness, the Anunnaki, and the human experiment, which actually, let's just dive right into that one. Why not? Because that's who's here right now. The Anunnaki and the Human Experiment. If you're reading a book like this, you've most likely heard of the Anunnaki. According to the Sumerians, they were a giant humanoid extraterrestrial race from Nibiru that were the gods described in ancient mythologies and religions. The Anunnaki god is Anu, and the pantheon of Anunnaki described by Zecharia Sitchin from the key figures in the hierarchy that secretly watch over humanity and the planet Nibiru. The Anunnaki have a relationship with Earth-based draconians with historical agreements regarding the management of the human experiment. The Anunnaki are not highly consciously evolved race, but they are more highly evolved when it comes to scientific technology, especially with their master genetics. They came to create a slave race which they could control for their own benefit, setting themselves up to be god beings and masters over the slaves. The statement, thou shalt have no other gods before me, refers to the Anunnaki warning against the worship of any other off-world or other dimensional beings. There are many off-world, other dimensional races, both benevolent and malevolent. When the Anunnaki created their genetically modified humans, us, they had to abide by the universal laws, which meant they had to include a certain aspect of the God spark. That's the sin, by the way. Other beings not doing something bad. That's the sin, that the RNA, the God spark, the Christ spark. Okay, other beings with the benevolent intentions also had joined in, and that would be the Luciferian stuff that the scripture talks about. Okay, with benevolent intentions also joined and contributed to the DNA to the human slave race, including the reptilian DNA. This is when the beings of light or of the angelics interfered and insisted that by the universal law, their genetics must also be included. Of course, this upset the malevolent plans, but they would not be allowed to continue with their experiment unless agreed to include the angelic DNA. They agreed. Ding ding ding. Um, okay, they agreed, but with their usual deceptive ways. They disconnected and deactivated. This is why we're being activated. Deactivated the God Spark DNA. You can rest assured that this disconnected DNA does absolutely exist with each and every human being. The God Spark finally began to come online during the harmonic convergence in August of 1987, which was the world's first globally synchronized meditation event, which coincided with the exceptional alignment of the planets and the solar system. Because we are genetically connected to the other races, karmically bound to them, our conscious awakening began to affect them as well, which was a surprise they were not prepared for. Because of this connection, many creator beings have been awakened as well, remembering their divine connection and choosing to return to source. For any of them to progress, they must release their karmic ties to humans. But even those not interested in progressing, evolving, must disconnect their ties, or they will continue to be influenced as humanity raises their awareness. Because of this, many of the malevolent beings choose to disconnect from humanity to escape the chaos they were experiencing. With the great awakening of humanity, causing many slave masters to break free, break their chains, and release the slaves because they were the recipients of many species, genes, and genealogy, were having quite an impact on the consciousness of many races. And we are. Our DNA is being lit up with protonic light, sending out broadcast signals. Didn't I say that? I said that. I said that. I've said a lot of this stuff. And I just got this. So I mean, star seeds know these. I think your soul knows this stuff. It's just whether you want to remember or not. I think everyone knows this stuff. They just whether how ingrained you are into the matrix or how more soul bound to free your soul that you're, you know what I mean. All right, so and I kept saying you send off like the psychic ping that these narcissists, these malevolents, love to come into your life, right? And because most divinity, because your mind's been erased, you don't remember who you are, and your light draws these beings in to take advantage of your light. Eventually, I feel most wake up. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I think everybody's different. Okay, back to this. A DNA being lit up, protonic light sending out the broadcast signals. Because of this new broadcast system, the old paradigm is in the process of ending and a new one beginning. Hence the Schumann resonance. Okay, that's us. Before the arrival of the Anunnaki, humans existed in the universe, but it was specifically the Earth humans that were created by them. Along with many other races, they tweaked an existing design with their genetic manipulation, which included shorter lifespans. They couldn't have us living long enough to figure things out, after all, right? Because that can't have that. The Anunnaki arrived after the Lemurian civilization. That's over in the land of Mu, over in Hawaii, what we call Hawaii right now. And the civilization, but before the Atlantean civilization, these highly technological beings were capable of time travel and went back into human history, altering timelines, manipulating genetics and certain events to their advantage. Basically, kind of like everything I've been talking about on here. That's amazing. Many histories on multiple timelines are a byproduct of malevolent intervention with their timeline manipulation in galactic wars. Humanity has been blamed for things like fall of Atlantis and the Great Flood, but these were inserted narratives and not the truth. We've been continually programmed to think poorly of ourselves as human beings. And that's so true. If you really think about it, if you're struggling about it, think about that. Like, how much do you beat yourself up over stuff? That's a program. It's really fascinating. So we call the lizard race here. The Dracos are a warlike race from Alpha Draconis star system. These reptilian aliens are known to be expert genetics with a high level of, and most of you know this already, I'm just reading because this is all coming together. And then some. The Dracos have the ability of interstellar travel, are very tall with heavy builds and covered with scales that range in color from green, brown, and red. Red dragon. Their white-colored Royal Alpha Draconis claim to be undisputed self-appointed rulers of our 52-star cluster. I think that's the Orion Queens. I picked up on that Orion Queen, too. Remember I said, well, for those of you who remember, I said Orion's shield was breached in something about capturing the Alpha Queen. All right? It's documented somewhere. Anyway, there are white-colored Royal Alpha Draconis claim to be undisputed self-appointed rulers of our 52-star cluster. They are the Orion Queens who rule over the Orion group, and it's been said that they reside on many worlds. The Draconians are said to be a violent race whose culture is based heavily on war. They have no patience for humans and see them only as a source of nourishment, the way humans view cattle. So we're the cattle. If you haven't, you know what I mean? They even put that in the Sumerian tablets, that we're the cattle. I worry about what that word harvest really means, by the way. I do worry about that, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not fearful of it, but like I'm not stupid either. Like, are we the wheat and the tear and the harvest and the yummies? Are we the Scooby snacks? Just saying. The Dracos are blamed for large numbers of human abductions and known to be quite intelligent geneticists. The origins, so basically look at all the major geneticists around the world, and there you go. The origins of the Draconian varies, and they don't like being talked about either. But some claim they created primates and may have seeded reptilian life on both Mars and Earth. They were involved in the Great War with the Lyran races, that is very true, after disagreements about genetic seeding, and were involved in the inhalation of 3 Lyran planets. The Lyrans were trying to create human beings that could evolve of their own free will, and the Draconians saw this as a breach of their genetic laws, which only allow the creation of life forms to be served as slaves or food. The Lyran Sirens' purpose was the seeding of the root races on this planet and reassembled. All right, that's the Christos. Okay, that's the whole slipping the DNA in, and it was forbidden with the Christ. It was forbidden. That's the true sin. That is the true sin here. And to not cross, that's the crossing the fiery Moloch that they speak about in Scripture. Okay, so races on this planet are reassembled in the original avatar Christos matrix of the human being in the lower harmonic universe and reclaimed all aspects into wholeness. This is essentially going into past and future timelines to retrieve genetic. I've been picking up on that too, like they're going back to the 80s. I've been picking up, I did a whole thing when I was picking up specific dates and times and timelines, and I'm like, and they were going back to certain periods of time, lines, specific points. I was picking up on that. Now I understand why. I get it. For the most part anyway, as much as I can understand that one. Because it's big. I understand a lot of things I don't say because, you know, it is YouTube. So future timeline destruction from the galactic wars, we're now reliving the seed of the first wars of the Antichrist that began in Lyra, where the war spread onto the Orion constellations. That's why we're still in Orion. That's why everything points to the Orion constellation here. And we're tipping because Orion is like falling on its face like a drunkard. That's the drunkard that they speak of. Okay, the Lyrans are the original ancestors of our galactic family, and many thousands of years ago, their civilization reached a very high level of technology. Factions within this culture fell into disagreement, of course, which turned into wars, of course, and destroyed much of their society, of course. Many Lyrans escaped to Pleiades. This is where the Pleiades comes in. In the Hades and the Vega star system, Pleiades of Lyran ancestry also came to Earth during the Lemurian and Atlantean periods. The earliest genetic, and some of you may be having memories of this as well. The earliest genetic relationship, because most likely many of us were part of this to create us, if that makes sense. The earliest genetic relationship humanity has is our direct original ancestry from the constellation of Lyra. And I'll pause here for a second because I remember when I first heard that the Sumerians made us, I sat down and I'm like thinking, what you mean? What you mean? What you mean they made us? And what the heck is a Homo sapien sapien? Like these were words that I've heard, but like it didn't click. And that was James Gilliland that was talking about it. That it's hard to find. I mean, he has his own platform, and he's a steady ranch out in Washington by Mount Rainier, and he has a ton of evidence of. It's so funny because now people are like, "Oh my God, UFOs!" But he's been talking about this for decades because he's experienced it and has tons of footage of it on his own property. He's in some kind of Stargate over there, and his experience, and it's powerful. You know, it's powerful, and he's been talking about this for a long time, and you know, because we're, if you think about it, depending on how you're raised and all that, you think, oh, God made you. We're made in His image, right? And so then when you hear, wait a minute, you hear the word Homo sapien sapien, you're like, wait a minute, what? What are you talking about? What does that mean? And then the Sumerian, what do you mean the Sumerians made us? But it says God made us, and you know what I mean? See how confusing that is? So this is where we're waking up to things on a massive scale, and it can sit you down, and it can put you in a dark night of the soul because of the false templates here. That's why, like, I love Divine Creator, but I do not believe in any of organized. I think it creates wars on purpose. It's a battle of domination, if you will. And they in religion is a 501c, and they have more money than God. So there you go. Anyway, and they don't help people, not like they should. And I'm not saying all religions are like that. That's not what I mean. I'm just talking about, like, you know. I mean, if I have to explain it, then maybe you don't know, but that's okay. These critical events happen on the earth have open access to previous timelines, allowing us to go back in time to observe humanity's original seeding and genetic ascendancy sourced directly from Lyra. Through this transitional time, it is so important to stay out of fear and stay. I love you, Faith, because you're always saying that. I love you. And stay in our heart center. And this is, in this way, we can create a link through time in which our present timeline can phase lock into the future timeline of the Christos, or Christ consciousness, the realignment where spiritual and human freedom have already manifested. These destructive events of human genocidal campaigns, which have haunted our race for millions of years in our history, will lose their power over future destinies and will cease to manifest in the present time. And I feel like that's what we're here to do. So the Lyran Wars are the very first seed of the Antichrist, okay? Conflict recorded in the universal time matrix, in which the black hole entities, the soulless beings, like many people, you're out there, you're dating them, you married them, you had kids with some of these things. They've been cloned and hybridized for use by the Anunnaki, Draconians, and other groups controlled by AI, intended to conquer the entire Milky Way system. And that's what they do. And I've been talking about that for a long time, about the Kuiper belt. That's a trap. That's a trapping stars. They trap stars. They trap the light. Gaia is a light. Gaia is a soul. She's a sun. She's a star, right? She truly is her own resource. She doesn't need another sun. Well, now she does, but she didn't. She was self-sustaining. And this is why this place is so focused on fossil fuels, and you know what I'm saying, right? Those are her fluids, and that's what these beings do. They come in and drain everything, all its resources, and then, you know, decimate it, or whatever the case may be. This has been through, and this is a memory I personally have, and I feel like there's many of you that have that memory too, or it sparks something. I don't want to use the word trigger. It sparks something in you that you're remembering, kind of deal. Okay. So, aftermath of the destruction caused by the Lyran Wars resulted in the Milky Way time matrix. That's why there's a scar there, devolving into the fallen universe, in which these original Lyran code fragments were used to form the phantom false matrix AI timelines of the fallen Earth and the artificial tree of life. No kidding. That essentially became the new home for the invading forces of the negative alien agenda. After the destruction of the Lyran 12th Stargate, the Lyra Amatria, Aramatena, the Emerald Order, picking up on this, Order, Lyran Elohim feline races were appointed to serve as the primary universal security team to repair the timeline architecture, but also to carry out the reclamation of the Christos mission and assist the many. That's why I'm like, how can you not believe in Christ? These people, I just don't get how people don't believe, and every free will and all, but like, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, brain fart on that one. Just a little side note. But also to carry out the reclamation of Christos mission, assist the many other fallen races in order to be able to continue the path of evolution to ascension. These fallen races have been either partially or fully assimilated into AI program, the black hole technology. That's probably the cube, the Saturn cube. I feel like that's probably what that is. Maybe not. Could be something completely different, but I feel like that's what it might be. And that was historically used both as technological weapon to enslave other living matrices and to pull them into phantom matrices where those captured who would be consumed, to the point AI infection of this black hole. Oh my God, rips and tears of it is to rip holes into the matrix and infect our system, which was also intended to stop seeding of the founder of Christos and races. And I've been talking about that, how it, like, back in 2020 or 2019, I understood, like, somehow, like, we're weirdly in this hologram. Star Trek's been showing it to us for years, of course, entertainmently, but these holodecks, which we're experiencing, I know many of you know this already, but that explains to me, like, why I've been picking up on it. And it's just validating nicely for me things that I've just been picking up on. That's been amazing. Okay, so the first lineage of the main original Lyran Elohim feline humanoid race were also called the Anuazi, the Emerald Order. Anuazi embodied as the liquid light forms of the original Christos race. That's some of the liquid light you're also seeing in the veil too. The rainbow crystalline light you're seeing, that's a light body of a higher vibrational being. All right, take it or leave it. Christos race is the universe which embodied the architecture of the cosmic sovereign law of one, which goes back to Ra, actually, including the ancient builder template of God created code, because Ra is about the law of one. The Lyran Elohim felines were supervising the sirens to host the seeding of the 12 strand. See, I think we have 13 strands. I'm not a scientist, I'm nobody, but I just feel like we do. Because if Christ had his 12 disciples, really he had 13, including Christ, right? And then we have 13 moon. We really have 13, the number 13. But anyway, side note. 12-strand DNA genetics on the 5D planet Tara. After the fall of Tara, the Anuazi descended themselves into the lower dimensions through the Azarites and the Araphim, the 2448 DNA strand template to create the interdimensional free world councils, higher dimensional guardian groups who oppose deception. They oppose it. They oppose the mind control. They oppose the slavery of any life forms. This was to protect the universal Stargate locations and to repair AI damage and to reassemble and protect the royal house of Lyra, original genetic library. Wow, this is huge. The name Tara has been used to describe the future of Earth in its 5D form, the Soul Matrix universe. Our planet Earth exists in three main formed identities, which I feel like past, present, future, right? In the universal time matrix, Earth originally came from Tara, which was a planet in the second harmonic universe, which exploded and then imploded into the black hole. Some of the fragments were pulled into the lower dimensions and became our planet. That makes sense to me. In the solar system, organic and naturally evolving solar systems that remain connected to the center point. Zero bubble, Archangel Michael, the center point of all union. This is what you've been trying to tell me. The eternal consciousness of the God source manifestation. I don't lie when I say I really hear Archangel Michael. He shows me a lot because I pay attention. And some of you know I've been getting that zero bubble. This is what I feel like is the message about that. Okay, so generally includes the 12 planets, including the sun. 3D Earth is called Terra. 5D Earth is called Tara. And the 7th D Earth is called Gaia. Okay, so we're not on Gaia, because we're definitely not in the 7th dimension. Different ET races, other than dimensional, we're connected to her, but we're not physically on her. They've put us in a different box, if you will. Dimensional beings may call these future Earths by different names based on their language, but they are all planet Earth at different stages of evolution and timelines. That makes sense. Thoth. Oh boy, here we go with Thoth. Okay, who's Thoth? Let's find out who Thoth is. The Thothian Luciferians. Oh, Jesus. Thoth is known as the Egyptian god of knowledge and was widely worshipped as an inventor of the written word. Thoth was credited with the creation of different branches of knowledge and is a central figure of ancient Egyptian religion, filling various important roles of the mythological world. He incarnated as the Egyptian priest many times while in the Atlantean mystery schools and were flourishing in Egyptian culture. This was to control the Atlantean conspiracy held by the negative alien agenda since the Great Flood. At the height of Hermes' lifetime, Thoth was assessing the 11th dimension at his embodiment level, claiming to be the blue flame, Melzijak. Wow. He was misrepresenting the Emerald Order founder records with the purpose of demonstrating his higher initiation level to the real blue flame, Melzijak, and high priest. It appeared that he was truly bestowed with authority to oversee and direct the blue flame initiations. Thoth is here. He's here. That's why I keep picking up on this blue flame. And in the pyramids and the underground temples, he's there. He's there. I know I can't prove it, but he's there. But instead, he was committing a grave deception. Oh, Thoth, what are you doing? Thoth was originally from the Anunnaki lineages who felt they were superior to the original Terran angelic humans. When Thoth ascended to the position of the middle layers of the 11th dimension, he made the choice to lead the Anunnaki race lines into genetic superiority over angelic humanity. Ew, that doesn't sound too good. This is when he strategically chose to align with the Wessa invaders. Okay. Now you take this or leave this, you know what I mean? This is just a book I got from a starseed that really remembers a lot of things. A Wezadek is a negative ET group consisting of the Anunnaki and the Draconians that invaded through Orion and formed alliances to take over. And I remember I was getting that they broke off in factions. Doesn't mean all Anunnaki are negative. That they did. They decided they were going to break off and do their own thing. And I think that's where that whole, Morningstar, maybe not. Maybe Morningstar's a whole different character. But like Morningstar wanting to take over and do what Morningstar wanted to do, which maybe this is what this is all about. That invaded, and I'm not trying to confuse anybody. You believe what you want. This is not what this is about. This is just, this is for me to understand, for me and those who resonate with this. So that invaded through Orion and formed alliances to take over control of Earth. They also know that the NAA, meaning the negative and alien agenda, and Phil Schneider has been talking about that. Clearly he's not here anymore. He's been talking about this. He's witnessed this stuff. Okay, so we have witnesses to what she wrote about. So this isn't just like, pulling this out of thin air. We have people here that have witnessed this stuff, who have lost their lives coming forward with this stuff for us to be able to talk about this stuff. Okay? So we're talking like, Majestic 12, all of that. Clearly entertainment purposes only. These groups use technology to open wormholes, bend together to create more power to pull Earth, which goes back to CERN, into the black hole system. This created the Phantom Matrix, where they could gain total control over the planet and humanity. The parallel systems these entities originate from is called the Wezadek system, where many Anunnaki and their hybrids originate from. These Thothian Luciferians and their allies have organized plans to take over all New Age ascension and disclosure communities. Ooh. Through infiltrating their agenda is to offer powerful influence to any 3D organizations and public leaders targeting those who are connecting the dots. Huh. Well, we're bumming because we're connecting the dots. Well, we're not bumming, but you know what I mean. And realizing who the key players are and who embedded into the many layers of planetary corruption. During Atlantis, the Snake Brotherhood kings made a secret pact called the Luciferian Covenant. The Covenant that I've been picking up on that. For the purpose of the inhalation and historical timelines into the cellular memories of humanity. Their purpose was to wipe out all records of highly technological human civilization that were naturally evolving and advancing human consciousness and authentic human culture. You know what's so funny is, and no disrespect to anybody out there with scripture, you know, I get it, but that's the only book that's here. So anything that makes you look beyond what you're reading, because I feel, you know, clearly with scripture, it has been altered. Of course it is. Look at the world we're in. And you have to really decipher things. It's very confusing. But yet you mock people like me who talk about this stuff, but you'll believe that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just want to put that out there. Like it's such a hard concept to grasp, but you can grasp this black book that was put here and altered and changed. And I'm not putting it down because there's clearly sacred information there for all of us. It's just you have to discern what has been changed and what hasn't, and learn that for yourself. Like going back to the cuneiform and the Hebrews and all that. If you're into that, some people aren't even into that. But you know what I mean? Like, so no, this does not seem so far-fetched. This actually makes a lot of sense to me personally. And I feel for a lot of star seeds it will too. I'm not saying take everything she's saying as like, you know, it, but there's absolute truth in this. And it has been proven and shown over time. And look around you, look at the world we're in right now. It's a huge battle, a huge war, earthquakes, all of this. So anyway, hear the crow? Oh, excuse me. All right, so the Luciferian Covenant for the purpose of inhalation, historical. The purpose was to wipe out all records. Okay. Technological memories, histories, and identities during the Atlantean civilization is a conspiracy enacted through the blood covenant made with the Illuminati hybrid humans that make up the power elite, who answer to the Thothian Luciferian groups. The Luciferian Thothian group put out a wide range of twisted half-truths and ancient esoteric teachings of ascension that are purposely geared towards consciousness enslavement. Many channel transmissions are based on information disseminated from the Atlantean mystery schools and the Brotherhood of the Snake, which acquired ancient written translation of stolen coded information from the Law of One records. That's why Ra and Thoth had a battle. Okay, there's my answer. That's my answer. Remember I came across that I forget where I came across that Ra and Thoth were in a battle with each other, and I wanted to know why. Here it is. That makes sense to me. So these records were assessed and translated by Thoth and then reassembled through the Emerald Tablets. This corrupted, hijacked information was transmitted to the New Age movement embedded with artificial intelligence mind control programming for the purpose of spiritual oppression. Since the Harmonic Convergence in 1987, a task force was put together by the Thothian Luciferians to control information given to the awakening population of the complete takeover of the New Age ascension disclosure movements. They've built with an extensive artificial neurological network with silent sound technology to control transmissions of channeled material to be sent to the awakening population, which means like this when they change the tones, sounds of music. That's why music was always changing. Sound frequencies here, you know, this everything's manipulated through sound. I think everything is created from sound and light. So that makes sense to me. Okay, so channel material sent away population, the pretense of friendly ETs, ascended masters, even famous figures of human history. So they've built an extensive artificial neural link network with silent sound technology to control transmissions of channeled material to be sent to the awakened population in the pretense of our friendly ETs, ascended masters, and even famous figures of human history. Many people on Earth have been contacted by human and non-human imposters from these operations to gaslight and lie about many ongoing themes of global concern for the purpose of intelligence, handling, and controlled opposition. These operatives have infiltrated many areas of the ascension and disclosure communities. That's why all of a sudden everyone's like allowed to talk about this stuff. This disclosure is happening. That makes actual sense to me. They're hidden behind false front organizations with the primary goal to attack, dismiss, and debunk unapproved topics with mass propaganda and character assassination. Okay, the Mother Ark. Let's get into the Mother Ark. When the Mother Ark was ignited in the Earth core, the inner gates, remember the Earth core stopped. Okay. I don't know if it started back up again, but the Earth core had stopped. The inner gates, which connect to Andromeda, were opened through the crystal core of Earth. The protectors of the crystal core are the crystal races called Aquifarians, the Aquari line. The Aquifarian councils of Andromeda were able to have contact with indigo race lines back in 2008. Andromeda has a galactic core which spirals and connects into our Milky Way galactic core during the ascension cycle. There is a tremendous amount of activity around Giza now. With the Giza portal being the heart chakra of Earth, which corresponds with the fourth gate in the fourth dimension. 4-4. This is what I'm being... These are the fours. I feel this is connected to the fours I've been getting. These numbers, I feel, this is just my take on it, because if everything else is like blah, 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 and you got to sort it out, your guides, your oversoul will use numbers to communicate with you. You set up a different, I feel we set up a different way through the illusions. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense to you. Because there's so much illusion here. All right, so this portal is also connected to the Holo Records, which releases a universal memory into the planetary memory banks of the morphogenic fields. Once the Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, and Earth core open, this makes an incarnational memory available to humans with DNA strand activations. This galactic center, and look at how much they've been keeping from us. That's highly disturbing. The galactic center and Andromeda galactic core are intersecting with the original core of our creation, the center point of all union, zero bubble. The Holy Mother is progressively returning to reclaim and restore her creation with advanced Godhead technology, including the Arc Zone Blu-ray architecture, modifying the planetary grid to transmit levels of the Sophia female coding. The Crystal Guardians call this aspect the Mother's Aquamarine Ray, the 13th pillar, 13 pillar gateway, which also providing new magnetic forces which are powering up the Earth's crystal core. The Mark Other is part of the animated spiritual forces of the Aurora Ether and the Cosmic Holy Spirit, connecting to the Godhead central point of all union, zero bubble. A quantity of the Cosmic Holy Spirit was transmitted. She's the Holy Spirit. In our universal time matrix, and formed into the 13th pillar, which began transmitting the aquamarine layer of Amoria, waves to ignite the inner Holy Spirit within the higher heart in human beings. These waves of Mother Ark are the eternal flames that circulate the pulses of the living God source consciousness from in and out of the manifestation grid. So all 12 of the organic dimensional timeline templates are protected and held within the 113th pillar gateway. The Mother Ark is encompassed within the advanced architecture of the Ark of the Covenant. A living consciousness portal system that has been gifted to us as a fail-safe to protect this planetary creation. This is why I'm picking up on the Covenant. Mother Ark and the Aurora forces of Andromeda align together to accomplish the process of rebirth in the elemental tetramorphic patterns in the natural kingdoms to be able to heal with the Christic divine blueprint. Cosmic Mother is resurrecting herself in the fallen realm to protect and reclaim her children. Through our beloved Mother Ark, we are able to discern between the false Dark Mother and its artificial reverse mother energies versus the real mother principle that is held deep within the sacred crystal heart of the universe. Your soul will know. Your soul will know. Your soul will know. Okay? The Aquafarian race were part of the original crystal star human race lines, which became extinct in our universal time matrix after the electric wars which broke out over the first root race seeding on the 7D future Earth Gaia. It was a conflict over the dominion of Earth realms and the DNA seeding in an evolution of human Christ kingdom. When the Mother Ark was ignited in the Earth core, the inner gates connecting to Andromeda were opened through the crystal core of Earth. The protectors of the crystal core are of these Christic races, the Aquafarians, which have direct genetic relationship to the Christ lineage. Many humans are genetically related to these races and will undergo genetic rehabilitation through the Aquarian DNA links, which connect to the future planet of Andromeda. I think it's supposed to say galaxy. For some, this is the future ascended Christos body in the next incarnation. This is, I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe you can have an imagination. I don't think someone could just make this up. You know, this makes a ton of sense to me. This makes a ton of sense to me. And I feel like if it makes sense to you, this is an activation channel. This channel is an activating channel for your highest good always. That's what this channel is all about. And this is going to, some of you are going to remember more. Somehow, because I'm reading this. I don't know. Maybe you won't. But, hey, Mindy. Hi, Jody. I am reading from our angelic human heritage. And you can Google it and look it up and get it too as well. Hi, Faith. This just makes a lot of sense. This is what I'm reading from. See? And it makes sense to me. It's honestly, it's interesting because, I mean, not all of it I've been, like, it's just things I don't know how to explain it. It's familiar to me. It's familiar to me. This place never made sense to me. When I heard Dolores Cannon, not that I needed that, and I had no idea who Dolores Cannon was at the time, but I've always remembered being 3 years old and telling my mother I want to go home. And she'd be like, well, we are home. And I'd be like, no, this is not home. Crying in my kitchen. Don't you know, Dolores Cannon talks about a lot of people she's had under hypnotherapy saying the same thing. Something to do with the kitchen. Having a, crying at 3 years old is a significant number. Because you understand where you are. And you understand that you're back here again. And we are not here. Karma is a false template. Do you really think the divine's up there like, wow, you know what? On May 25th in 1980, you did that. And you have to go back to Earth to redo it all over again. I don't really think so. It never really made sense. Not that there aren't consequences to our actions. I think that's different. And this moon construct definitely keeps us stuck here, keeps looping us around. We get tricked every single time. So, and I've just stuff I've understand my entire life. I'm reading it, it's put together a lot. It's like taking all the things I understood all my life and putting it in a book that I didn't write. It's not my book, clearly. So you can get this. It's not that expensive, and she has a few other things too. Because I was determined to find out who she was. And that was the video I posted. And she, talks about that we are the angelic humans here. Project Pegasus is in here. Beware of the false light. Believe in your own magic. She goes into who were the Magi. alchemy, personal responsibility. Ooh, what to expect in 2023, which already happened. Unification, not more division. Unification, not more division. In the logical mind, and the body-soul connection. Who are the 144,000s in here? What page is that? Let's read that. I think I just read that. Oh, we're heading into that right now. I'll read that. The founders of the collective consciousness from God's source of higher level advanced beings considered to be our creators who seated us on earth and other dimensional worlds are ultra-terrestrials and ascended masses that originated from ethereal and eternal collective outside of our time matrix beyond the 15th dimension. They are also the incarnate manifest forms of the Christos founder races, which are among the highest levels of being in the 15th dimensional time matrix. There are also beings in the 10th, 11th, and 12th dimensions called avatars. These ascended beings, referred to as ascended masters, are those who have lived in a physical body on earth and experienced life through many incarnations. There are too many to name, but the few most familiar are Yeshua, Buddha, Mary, Laozu, did I say that right? Laozu, Saint Germain, Kuan Yin, and so many more. These ascended beings mastered being alive in a physical body and became masters of balance. That goes back to balance in the matter, right? I've been talking about that, how we're in this world, we're not of this world, and we have to be careful how much matter of the world we take into our light, hence addictions, things like that, right? Oh wow, this makes too much, this aligns with everything I'm saying. Achieving mastery can be very challenging because Earth is a planet of duality and many hardships to endure and overcome. Through their achievement of mastery and their knowledge and experience of life on Earth, they are lovingly available to assist anyone who reaches out and sincerely requests their guidance. There are examples of ascended masters from all major religions and those not even associated with any religion whatsoever. What's important is which ones you resonate with and may depend on which faith you were brought up into belief. What's been hidden from humanity is, ding, 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 that the angelic human race originates from these 12th dimensional avatars. The lower aspects of our consciousness existing within our third dimensions of reality is very distorted compared to our, original 12D higher self, but all humans retain 12D frequencies and what's called our junk DNA. Isn't that funny how they call that junk? We can regenerate this by utilizing ancient spiritual science of DNA template activations in order to move up the spiritual levels, which would be your Jacob's ladder, if you will, okay? The founders call this knowledge the freedom teachings of the Enoch Christos, which is a part of a huge body of information called the Emerald Covenant, which are the ancient pre-Atlantean holographic disc records that were given to our race in 2600 BC, 1,000, not 246,000 BC. The records have a huge significance to every religion on this planet and have massive encrypted tones of particular physical and spiritual evolutionary advancement teaching. So why are they not telling us this in these organized religions then? You know what I mean? Presented to the races by the primary founder races who exist in the 13th, 14th, and 15th dimensions. The teachings cover the full evolutionary history of life evolution in our time matrix since the last life wave was seeded 950 billion years ago. These advanced spiritual teachings have been translated in different time periods and handwritten onto semi-translucent vellum, VELLUM, textile pages, resulting in a collection of large books called the Sacred Mahariyata, Inner Christos text. The Mahariyata texts are the huge books of 590 condensed text volumes totaling over 500,000 pages. The angelic human race was created as a Templar guardian race for the time matrix. Some of our highest spiritual aspects are billions of years old. Angelic humans are ancient and multidimensional, and humanity is the race originally created by the Christos founders race to carry forward the commission of upholding the integrity of the divine Christos blueprint, a commission that was originally held by the Lyra Siren Anuazi guardian race. The Christos founder race freedom teachings include the Emerald Covenant and the Law of One. That's why Ra is here. And the Lyran Siren model of peaceful, co-creative, self-sovereign, co-evolution, the promise of the Emerald Covenant, co-evolution agreement, universal peace treaty was created by our founders and aligned to divine love. It is promise. That's the promise that keeps coming out. That's the promise. That would come out in my readings. That would come out because I'm connected, and that would come out because you watch because you're connected. The promise made us that all souls in the fallen universe would eventually be found and returned to their original home. This was the original divine plan of the spiritual ascension. That's why a lot of us have abandonment issues, because we feel like we were left, right? To remember our divine purpose, find our way back home, and be reunited with God's source. Love it. So who are the 144,000? Mentioned several times in the Bible, but who are they really? If you look this up on the internet, you'll find various answers, like one starting at 144,000 is a natural number, which has significance in various religious movements and ancient prophetic beliefs. The Jehovah's Witnesses teaches that the 144,000 represent the total number of Jehovah's Witnesses who will make it to heaven, and the rest of the faithful will live apart from the Christ on earth. Christians tend to agree that 144,000 does not denote the total number of souls throughout history who will be saved from the wrath of eternal damnation. There are many interpretations and disputes, but to many it's more convincing to say that the number 144,000 merely symbolizes all Christians throughout history, but both Jews and Gentiles. Even more interesting was this anonymous interpretation stating that the 144,000 were from the biblical Garden of Eden, which is heaven on earth, Shambhala, in the 5D realm. It was suggested that the higher selves of the 144,000 remain there while projecting themselves down into the 3D, does this sound familiar to anybody? The 3D holographic universe, into mental bodies to test themselves in the underworld matrix. The Christos gods of the 666 carbon-based man-animal conscious suits, your meat suit. That's what really the number 666 is. See how they turn that into so much fear? It's your meat suit. Beginning, middle, and end of it. It's carbon. But they turned it into this evil being. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's just interesting to me. The ones to be released from the beast consciousness after experiencing great limitations compared to infinite potential, as they once again remember and realize the divine spiritual spark within. Of course, it's most often agreed upon that the 144,000 are God's special army. I think so. The warriors of the light mentioned in the book of Revelation, on the Emerald Tablets, and even in the stories passed on by Native Americans and others. The number most assuredly has symbology significance that is often misinterpreted, but is strongly believed that a great call went out to the light workers in known universe to come help guide the planet through the process of ascension. They are definitely one of the most mysterious groups mentioned in the Bible. The Book of Revelations and the Emerald Tablets both predict the arrival of the 144,000 light workers who saved the earth from dark forces during the Kali Yuga in the end times. It's believed that the most of what is referred to as the 144,000 light workers are here and in the process of awakening for the divine purpose and mission on earth, often referred to star seeds, incarnate from more evolved planets. It's been predicted that those who ascend on the first wave will have more opportunity to return to the earth in their ascended state, to awaken the rest of humanity for their ascension. The Book of Enoch supports the prediction of speaking of the sudden appearance of the 144,000 ascended masters on earth, who will transform the world out of darkness and despair. The appearance of the 144,000 teachers was predicted in Native American prophecy. In April of 1983, the Master of Medicine, Harley Swiftdare, declared that the 144,000 enlightened masters of the dance of the sun would awaken fully in the body of their dreams, and they would begin to gather their own feathered snakes or winged serpent wheels, the Merkaba. The Merkaba. That's what the serpent stands for, is your Merkaba. and will become the great force of light to help the rest of humanity to dance with their waking dreams. In the book of Revelation, John refers to countless numbers of each nation dressed in what John regarded as white robes. This could have been the perception of their light bodies. He said that they were the ones who were purified, thank you, in the time of great distress, a 7-year period of great tribulation, which I feel we're in, which could correspond with the natural disasters predicted necessary for Earth to purify itself from. That's what's going on. I did say that. She's purifying herself. She's protecting herself. That's why her volcanoes are erupting. We're going through a whole other cycle that she is pushing everything off of her that absolutely does not align to her or belong on her, because she is all set with the crap. And she is. She's all set with the Luciferian crap. Earth to purify itself from industrial civilization and pollution. It takes 360-degree. Earth takes a 360-degree journey through the galaxy over 25,920 years, and each complete cycle is known as the Yuga. It's Y-U-G-A. There are 4 parts to the Yuga. 2 parts is the 180 degrees of ascending consciousness. 2 parts, 180 degrees of descending consciousness. This cyclical rise and fall of consciousness on Earth has been occurring since the beginning of creation and explains the rise and fall of the great civilizations on Earth. The Kali Yuga is the last quadrant of the descending consciousness within the Yuga. It's kind of like yoga, but not. The Earth is now on the edge of the Kali Yuga, or the end of time. This will not be the end of Earth, but instead the end of darkness and the evil on Earth. And I love you, Faith. Like she's always telling us not to fear. Not to fear. Nothing to fear here. Nothing to fear here. Nothing to see here. She's over there like, nothing to see here. You just keep going. keep shining your light. I love you, Faith. I really do. You are so appreciated here. The light workers are in process of awakening and coming out of their long mental and spiritual hibernation. They are, that's why I keep saying, star seeds, you're waking up. They are remembering their mission to assist in the great transformation of Earth as their cellular memories are activated to awaken their truth identities and purpose of incarnating at this crucial time in Earth's history. We are well into the 11th hour of the great change taking place on Earth, with the entire galaxies and planets observing, watching it all unfold, because what happens on Earth affects the entire multiverse. Each universe is comprised of everything which exists in entirety of space, time, matter, energy, which is all interconnected. It's like, that's why I said, like, this whole space thing, okay? Like, if you've gone to school, even if you know anatomy and physiology, your human body, there are, short of having surgery and something removed, there are no, like, spaces. Things don't roam around in your body. Everything's put together perfectly, divinely, hopefully, in your body, right? Everything has its place. It's neatly put in there. You're beautifully designed. That's how I see this space thing. Instead, they have it showing you like it's this dark spot. It's like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Especially when I started understanding the human body and how we're put together. Minus, like, clearly if you've had like, your appendix removed or something like that, then clearly there's a little vacant space there. But that's how I always thought of, like, planets or worlds, realms. It's all interconnected. It's all connected. Nothing's separate. But this place wants you to see everything as separate. Everything. Like, to always look outside yourself. Keep it all separate. So so back to this. So the 11th hour. Okay, so this most monumental mission undertaken the over 200 million years. Each and every light worker and light warrior is invaluable, with each having their own part to play, none lesser nor greater than any other. It should not even need to be said that there are more than mere 144,000 divine souls participating. It will be magnificently glorious and victorious, even biblical, with this becoming the greatest time in all of his or her history. Her story, I love that, her story, in connection with God's source, creator of all that is and ever was. So I'm going to end that there, and I will do another video going into this more if you're interested. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's important, and I feel like a lot of you will understand and I feel like a lot of you, it'll make sense to you, especially like with the menorah lighting up the heavens. That's profound. We're doing that. Like, we're assisting with that. I feel. You know, if you're aware and you understand what I'm saying, I do. I really feel that we are part of this. We are the change. We are the Schumann resonance. We're helping to make the changes here because we're seeing the injustices here, and our light matters. Our light is the matter. So I hope that makes sense. Our hearts. Aw. Faith, I really, high times up. I do. I love you too. I love it. I love when you just like, you keep it going. You keep us positive. I mean, I'm pretty positive as it is, but like, I love that. I love seeing that. No fear, all praise the Most High. Like, you just like, nothing to see here. Let's keep going. You're like the directing the traffic here, and I like that. I love that, actually, and I really appreciate all of you. So I'm going to end that there. I mean, you can look this up yourself. I was like, it took me a while to find out who she was. I was determined to find out who she is because she made sense to me. She made sense of things I understood before internet, before cell phones, before. You know what I mean? And it just makes a lot of sense to me. So I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. We're having quite the weather here on the East Coast. I think the whole United States is having quite the weather. And stay safe because there's some crazy storms. There's some crazy out of the blue tornadoes happening. Clearly, you know, you're aware of what's going on. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for being here, everybody. Peace out.